Alright, what's up everybody? Mr. Eric here, and got another headphone review for you today. This one is for the Sennheiser 58X. This is a Sennheiser drop collaboration. Can be purchased new for anywhere from around, I think I've seen it for as low as $140 new to about like $170, I think is pretty much their regular price. I was able to pick mine up used off a Head5 for about $120. So if you've been following along at all, this is my third Sennheiser review. They've been kind of my last few videos. So I've done the 560S, the 660S, and this is going to be probably the last Sennheiser I do for a little while here. So this one's going to be pretty quick because I'm going to do it based off of kind of like a comparison to the 660S, which is my favorite of the Sennheiser bunch. So you can find that review somewhere on the screen here, and I'll also put the 560, and those will be linked below as well. So we'll do a super quick rundown of the build here. But again, if you are familiar with the Sennheiser 6 Series line at all, you're getting much more the same with this headphone. So I do feel like it is a nice looking headphone. The only questionable design choice that I would say here is like the glossy headband, which I'm not a fan of personally. I much prefer the matte of the 660, and that's probably just in general my opinion on the build of this. It's still Sennheiser. It still seems pretty tough and durable. It just doesn't seem quite as good as the 660, but that's very, very minimal difference. It's still a super lightweight headphone. It still feels very durable. It's still very easy to take apart and mod if that's something you're into. I do feel like the pads on the 660 are just a little bit comfier and deeper than the pads here on the 58X, and I don't know if that's because these maybe were used a little bit more, or if the pads are slightly different. I mean, these pads do swap perfectly between the models, so again, I'm not sure exactly why there's a difference there between them. So all in all, the build's pretty equal between all of these Sennheiser models. If I had to rank them in terms of comfort, I would rank the 560 as the lowest, the 660 as the most comfortable, and this one right in the middle. Build quality, probably a little bit of an edge to the 660, but not much. The one thing that I do feel like the 58X really has going for it compared to the other two headphones is the cable. So the cable here is your typical Sennheiser termination, but what's nice about this one compared to the other two is this one terminates in a 3.5 and has just your typical nice little, 3.5 to a 1/4 inch adapter. And the cable is only, I don't know, 5 feet long or so, which it's just so much nicer to use this cable. I don't understand why this cable isn't the one that just comes with all of these headphones, is something like this. This system, again, I don't have the 660 or the 560 cable here handy with me, but they're like 10 feet long and they terminate in 1/4 inch. And then they use this gigantic adapter here, which just makes it just a totally cumbersome system to use. I have no idea why Sennheiser likes to do this. But this, again, that's not a problem with the 58X cable. It's perfectly manageable. And what's great about this is that means that you can use the 58X with a mobile device, just straight in your laptop, or you can use it with something like this Ear Studio ES100, and you can have a nice little portable system, and you don't have to deal with any of these big chunky adapter things like you have to with those other headphones. And I think the quality of this cable is that which, like, unless you want to go balanced, I don't think I'd worry about replacing it. Whereas I bought cables for the 560 and I bought cables for the 660 just because I didn't like what came with them. So that's a big plus for these. That's like the one category that they win, I would say. Let's get into sound. And again, I'm going to compare this between those other two headphones. So if I had to kind of sum up each headphone, the 660 is my favorite. It's nice, smooth, linear, lots of detail, less bass, less treble, more mid-focus, but I like the treble the best on that one. The 560 is a more analytical, cleaner, colder, more clinical sound, well extended on both ends, but I still don't feel like it's quite as detailed as the 660, at least not in the treble region. The 560 might have a slight edge in bass, so those are kind of the spectrum there. You've got nice and smooth 660 and clinical 560, and I feel like this guy tries to sit kind of right in the middle between those, where this has a big sub bass boost, I would say, so a lot more bass in the 5.8X when compared to either of those other two headphones. There's much more of a bass focus here. And also this has like a mid focus to it as well, where it really tries to elevate those frequencies, I feel like, to draw attention to them, to make it more exciting and engaging. It kind of misses the mark in my opinion, and it comes off a little shouty to me. And also the treble on this guy, it isn't as well extended. I feel like the resolution is lower, so it comes off like a little bit more compressed and grainy to me, which equates to just, I guess, the fact that I don't really like this headphone all that much. To me, I mean, I like the bass, and the sub bass focus I think is very engaging for like gaming, and I do think this is a pretty good gaming headphone because the imaging is really good on this as well. But I feel like for music, like the lack of resolution in the high end and that shoutiness factor kind of just gets me. I also would say that the sub bass can tend to muddy things up a little bit, also in my opinion, when I'm listening to it. So I don't, I guess for me, it's just kind of a miss with this headphone. Now, I know a lot of people love this headphone, and a lot of people think for the price, it's like the best value you can get. Again, for me, I much prefer the 660, so that's the one that I'm gonna stick with. That being said, these are very, very easy to mod. And there's a lot of information out there, and I'll link to some below, where people claim that you can mod these so they sound much closer to the 660. And if you can pull that off, then you know it's a great value as far as that goes. I experimented a little bit with this, and to not a lot of success, I guess I would say. I did notice some differences, and I do think I got it tamed down a little bit, like that shoutiness, but ultimately it didn't come together in like a cohesive sound the same way either the 560 does with that more analytical tone, or the 660 does with just that smoother but yet still detailed sound signature. So if you're heavy into gaming, these might be for you. If you like vocals very forward, these might be for you. If you like a lot of sub bass, these might be for you. But for me, they just didn't quite hit the mark. And if I got the 660 over here, I'm never gonna reach for this over those, I think is what it comes down to. So these are a pass for me. I'm gonna sell them. But I'm glad that I went back to them to try them out, because I tried them a long time ago, and again, I kind of had that same conclusion where they sound okay, but just after a while of listening to them, it just grates on me a little bit, the shoutiness and the treble regions on this headphone. So I'm going to send them on their way, and with that, I'm probably done doing Sennheisers for a little while here. I do have a couple more headphones, though, on hand that I do need to review. So if you like this review, please feel free to hit that like button down there, and if you want more headphone reviews, you know, consider subscribing to the channel. If there's something that I didn't address in this video that you want to know specifically about the 5.8X, feel free to drop it in the comments below, and I will do my best to get back to you. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.